Hello, Narnach here. Welcome back to Path of Exile, Atlas of Worlds. Today we're gonna run the tier 10 map, the Underground River. We've already run this one as about tier 5 or so, a Zana map. So it's not completely new to us, but at tier 10 it's gonna pose a little bit more of a danger than it did back then. So it's gonna be fun. The monsters are hexproof, and as such we will not be running our Enfeeble temp chains on Blasphemy. Instead, we got Hatred, because we hate hexproof monsters, and dealing some extra cold damage might chill them and keep them a little bit under control. There's going to be patches of desecrated ground, which will be mostly nullified by our Regen and Life Leech, but it's going to be a bit more difficult to tank things. More monster variety. We are cursed with vulnerability, so physical damage is going to hurt us more, as well as damage over time. And on top of that, monsters are faster in every way they could be. So, small change from last time. We're now using Lightning Coil. So before I was using Cherubim's something. This one over here, Cherubim's Maleficence, which is the highest tier armor evasion armor you can use. It has a bunch of life, it boosts our life leech by quite a bit. But the thing is, as often Nemesis pointed out, armor is only gonna help you so far. We're currently at 3,700 armor. So against spike damage that could kill us, 5,000, 6,000 points of damage, our armor is not gonna be 23% effective. It's gonna be less than 10% effective, and the more damage you take, more physical damage you take, the less effective armor is. The whole idea of armor is that it produces small attacks, not spike damage. So, especially with this being a hybrid armor, now you got some armor, you got some evasion, that's okay, but it's not going to help you deal with a huge spike damage, which is one of the things that is killing me. If there's lots of little blows, we are leeching so much life that we can just resist it. The problem is with spike damage that just kills us in either one or two very quick blows. So having a bit of a either a larger life pool or a way to deal with it is going to be better for us. And that's how we ended up with Lightning Coil. I always thought Lightning Coil was multiple exalts. Turns out you can actually get Lightning Coil for about 20 chaos. And that makes it actually within my budget. So the reason you use Lightning Coil, there's a lot of modifiers on here, but the reason you would use Lightning Coil is because of the last modifier. 30% of physical damage is taken as lightning damage. So that means for all the physical damage that comes in, only 70% is taken as physical damage. Which means there's less actual physical damage, which means your armor is going to be more effective. The other 30% is taken as lightning damage, and therefore it is being reduced by your elemental resistance to lightning, and therefore usually is reduced by 75%. So armor, physical damage produced at about 7 to 10%, lightning 75%. This basically reduces the incoming damage by about 22%, which is quite a bit. The downside is that it gives you negative 60 to maximum lightning resistance, so you do need to put some effort into it in order to compensate for that. So we also have ourselves a new helmet, just a rather nicely rolled rare that has a bunch of extra lightning resistance. And now we are capped for lightning resistance and fire resistance, but we are no longer overcapped for those resistances. So maps where our resistances get reduced, where we are elemental weakness on us, that's going to be more difficult, but physical spike damage is something that we are better at dealing with. I've also leveled up one more time, so we're now 87. As such, we've taken the very first life node up here, and our life is now 4,655. And with that, let's get started. Let's run ourselves a Underground River map. Yes. For some reason it's taking slightly longer now to summon the portals than it used to.
Life, like still water, becomes trapped, stagnant, foul.
So the chaos damage from the pulse here really is just ignored because we have a very high base amount of regeneration, which is it's nice actually. Hello there, Pocket Goliath. Made a couple of changes to my loot filter. Showing less rares now once we get to the yellow maps, just to cut down on the amount of visual noise. And I've made the currency a bit larger so it's easier to click on. Oh, it's a small convenience, things like that, which is why I really like the way the loot filter is handled in this game. There's a chest here, hidden. So far, so good, but on the other hand, monsters are faster and we are more vulnerable, but there's no massive bonus to monster damage. So that said, I had the fun of running a map that had 80% added fire damage and 80% added cold damage on mobs. So just one of my regular warm-up maps, and that was also rather fine. So monsters were doing 2.5 times their normal damage and wasn't particularly lethal. In addition to the gear changes, I've also been increasing the level of my castman damage taken gem that I've linked with Immortal Call. Now, in the beginning, I always start out with just a level 1 castman damage taken, because then it will trigger every 512 or so damage that you take, so it's going to trigger rather often. At some point though, it's going to be triggering more or less just continuously, and you'll never really benefit from having endurance charges up. While endurance charges, they do give you physical resistance. So having a couple of those charges floating about, it's not so bad. So there's a bit of a trade-off between consuming those charges to make to make Immortal Call run a little longer, or just actually having the benefit of those endurance charges. So it's now level 14. We need to take just shy of 2000 life in order to actually make it trigger. So our life pool being over 4500 points of life simply means it's gonna trigger 2 times before we take lethal damage. Which is for now I think is good enough. It doesn't trigger often enough, but when there's something scary happening, it's guaranteed to trigger. And I'll have a very short amount of time in order to recover. For example, over there. That was a bit of spike damage. And things worked themselves out. So all you need the Immortal Call for is just a fraction of an extra second of response time, so you can get the hell out of a dangerous situation. It's not meant to be up permanently. It's just there to help you. Let's see. Like that. Side room. So nice thing about the underground river is that it's basically a long line of that only goes in one way. It's like the ledge in that regard. In the end, we will be facing a unique drop bear. Hello there, you. These are tougher buggers, the big golems. But we can handle them. At least so far. I have a habit of, whenever I make statements like, yeah, this is gonna go okay, then I get killed by the next thing that could prove me wrong. So just slightly hedging my bets here. Slightly toning down my statement just to appease the gods. Good luck. So I would prefer to stay alive during the map runs. My entire goal for these runs is to just learn the maps, play them under different circumstances, get better at them, learn the boss mechanics, discover where the dangers lie, so that when I'm playing hardcore again next league, I know the things that can kill me. And at least then I will be slightly prepared. Of course, now I noticed the ghost. 2 ghosts even. That wasn't quite useful. And we were too late. Distracted by side minions. Okay, I'm just gonna loot this glorious plate then. Gotta do something with it, right? Just this something. More rats, just part of the prophecy. Well, the rats do drop currency, so it's not like they're completely useless. Basically, it's free loot. It would be funny if there was something like a opportunity for a unique rat lord or something to spawn. Breaker. Okay, so we've been picking up a decent amount of items. No, I do pick up some things. Mostly just items I can turn into chromatic orbs. We did pick up another underground C, which is a tier 11, so we've got ourselves a tier 11 we can run. But no, it's just a observation. The game definitely gets trickier the further you get. So at the lower levels you can just overpower things. And if you do enough damage to them before they do enough damage to you, then you don't really have to know the boss mechanics, then you don't really have to understand how things work, because you just point, click, shoot and kill before you get killed. At some point though, it stops being relevant. And then it does come down to player skill. That's what I'm now learning. Let's do this fight. So it's a boss that appears and disappears multiple times and then just keeps summoning those drop bear koala things. It that fell. Let's just flask up here. Did forget to put down my totem. That's gonna be for the next wave, because it's gonna disappear soonish. Yep. Then we'll just put the totem down. Resummon the totem. Again. Golem as well. It that fell. Okay, we'll just flask up again. You only have a short window to kill it before it disappears. Good thing is, we're doing an awful amount of damage, especially because we're now running Hatred. Definitely boosts our base DPS by quite a bit. No, it's from 11,500 to over 14,000. Which is then of course amplified by our flasks and frenzy charges and the totem and all the good stuff. And this map, of course, we occurs with vulnerability that makes the monsters hit harder. But the trade-off is that there was no real defensive modifiers on the boss. If I were playing this one with monsters have 40% increased physical damage reduction, this would have taken a lot longer, simply because the boss would have had more time to just go back and spawn more drop bears. So we had a good run here. This was it's a very fortunate map, and as such cleared it rather well. So as always, I'm gonna thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again next time. Bye bye.